Hello, good morning, friends. My name is Akash Sanjay. I am a coordinator at Karunyakara Institute of Dalit Knowledge and PhD scholar at Delhi University. Karunyakara Institute of Dalit Knowledge is founded by Professor Dr. Leela Karunyakara sir, and his idea behind this institution to provide an academic space to scholars, professors, and doctors who are engaged in the field of Dalit studies. Today, Karunyakara Institute of Dalit Knowledge going to have its 35th of lecture, and this lecture is a part of a series which we started on Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Jayanti on 14th of April 2025. Professor Dr. Karunyakara sir going to chair and also going to deliver today's lecture. So I'll take an immense pleasure to introduce and welcome him. Professor Dr. Leela Karunyakara sir is a former Vice Chancellor and founder of Karunyakara Institute of Dalit Knowledge. He is the author of books like History of Dalit Identity and Modernization of Buddhism. After completing his PhD from JNU, New Delhi, he joined as assistant professor at School of Ambedkar Studies at Babasaheb Bhimrao Ambedkar, Lucknow Central University. He's the one who introduced the MA History, Dalit History in MA History program. After that, Karunyakara sir joined as professor come director at Mahatma Gandhi Antarashtriya Hindi Vishwavidyalaya. And he also held the post of Vice Chancellor there. Thank you. I request, welcome sir. And I request Professor Dr. Leela Karunyakara sir to please deliver his lecture. Professor Karunyakara sir deliver his third part on the lecture was Mr. Russell Reconstruction of the Society. So I request Professor Dr. Leela Karunyakara sir to please deliver his lecture.
This is a lecture about a book review made by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. The book name is Principles of Social Reconstruction, written by Mr. Bertrand Russell. So Ambedkar's book review on the book Principles of Social Reconstruction, book of the Bertrand Russell, I have delivered 2 lectures. This is the 3rd lecture and the last part of the subject. I'm not going to review what I explained in the first 2 parts. For that, you may watch lecture of the 2 parts on Mr. Russell and the Reconstruction of Society from the YouTube. The 3rd and last part on the topic Mr. Russell and the Reconstruction of Society. The title Mr. Russell and the Reconstruction of Society is a book review title made by B.R. Ambedkar. As I said, book name is Principles of Social Reconstruction, and book review title is Mr. Russell and the Reconstruction of Society, and this is the 3rd part of the lecture. In the 3rd part, we are going to deal with 2 ideas which Ambedkar argued, picking up from the Principles of Reconstruction of Society. The one is love of money, another one is effects of property. These are the 2 concepts Mr. Bertrand Russell dealt in his book, The Principles of Social Reconstruction. One is love of money, another one is effects of the property. Principles of money, love of money. Bertrand Russell argues that love of money that causes conflict. Ambedkar's argument is that love of money depends on who is the person, haves or have-nots. Ambedkar used the terminology have and have-nots. Have means rich people, the wealthy people who are having wealth who are having the money, and have not means poor people, those who don't have money, those who don't have anything, no wealth. So how the haves understand the money, how they love the money, how the have-nots love the money. Haves love the money and they want to generate more money and more money. They value the money. Whereas have-nots, they go into a philosophy stating that no, money is not required. Ambedkar argues here that why have-nots, the poor people say that money is not required, though they don't have money, but the poor people argue that money is not required. Not everything is not money. Poor people argue why it is so. Ambedkar says that it's like a small story that one fox or jackal, it tries to eat grapes from the grape tree. When it jumps to catch the grapes to eat, it could not catch the grapes. Grapes are little bit higher, hanging in the tree. So this jackal tries again to catch the grapes. 2-3 times it tries, it could not get. It wants to eat the grapes. It means it is valuing the grapes. Then only it tries to eat the grape. Why a person desires to have something? Because the person gives that something, that product, some value. If you don't value, suppose 5 rupees coin is there on the road, a beggar immediately picks up. A middle class person might not pick up because for him 5 rupees has no value. For beggar, 5 rupees has so much value. Same way, when the fox, it tries to eat grapes from the tree, it has to pluck grapes from the tree. When it is jumps up, when the fox jumps up to catch the grapes from the tree, it could not get. It could not jump that much height to grab the grapes from the tree. So after a few attempts, the jackal thinks that no, these grapes are very sour. It's not a good grapes. I should not waste my time to trying to catch the grapes. Without even eating one grape, it decided the grapes are sour. But earlier, it was thinking that grapes are very sweet, so it must eat. When it unable to get it, it is feeling that grapes must have been sour. I should not try. So that is a poor people mentality. Poor people, they try to earn money. When they don't earn money, they have a philosophy that no, money is not a good thing. We should not have much money, like that. Because a poor person could not get the money. So he develops a mentality that, the mindset that, no, money is not good. Yeah, it is true. It is true in the practical life. Even yesterday I was, scrolling X, that former Twitter account. Generally, I don't, spend much time on the Twitter. But yesterday I was just, scrolling to see that what's happening in the world. So one very interesting, tweet I, read in the X account, on the X platform. And the tweet made by the owner of the X. Who is the owner of the X? Elon Musk. So Elon Musk tweeted. Actually, he was having a conversation with someone. So out of that conversation, he made a comment that made into a tweet. A tweet, Elon Musk, as on date, he is the wealthiest person on earth. He is even trying to build his wealth in the Mars. such a wealthiest person. But Elon Musk says, money doesn't bring happiness. Money is not everything. Money doesn't bring happiness. Why it is so? It is because if you start eating banana, you like very much. Suppose you like banana, you are mad of banana, and you have eaten banana. After eating 3-4 bananas, what you do? Will you keep eating again? Your want will be finished. You don't like to eat banana. The same way, when you have so much of money, you give a statement that no, money is not everything. Same is the case with the poor person. When he doesn't get any money, he will say that money is not everything. So Ambedkar explains that love of money is not a, it's abstract concept. Love of money is a concept should be understood in relation to the want of the money, need of the money. Love of money should be, the concept of love of money should be understood in the context of the want of the money. How much you want, why you want. Elon Musk said that money doesn't give everything. It doesn't mean that Elon Musk is leaving all his money, all his wealth. No. And he is doing a business. He is earning money. He wants more money to build his empire in the Mars. To build his empire on the Mars, he wants more money. So Ambedkar wants to say that the concept of love of money floated by the Bertrand Russell in his book Principles of Society, Reconstruction of Society, Ambedkar says that by reviewing the concept, Ambedkar states that love of money, the concept of love of money should be understood in the context of the want of the money. See, look, Bertrand Russell's book, Principles of Reconstruction of Society, as I already said in my last two parts of lectures, it is a war book. It is written in the background of wars, First World War. Why he wrote the book? He wrote the book to bring a peace in the society. He wrote the book against the war. This Bertrand Russell. How to reconstruct again a society after the war, after the First World War. So there he was talking about all these things. Why the war comes? Very interestingly, another concept which he discussed in this book is that property, effects of property. Bertrand Russell says that property affects the war. Property is a cause of the war. It's a property that causes war. Now tell me, there are two brothers in one family. They grown up together. They are the brothers of same parents. They went to the school together, college together. They grown up together. They got married. At one point of time, the same two brothers with the same blood, having the same parents, having the same life experience. At one point of time, they might fight with each other for one thing. You know what is that one thing? Anybody can tell? Anybody can tell? What is that one thing?
Property.
Property. That's what Bertrand Russell says. Bertrand Russell said, love of money, it's a property, effects of the property cause war. It is a property that causes the war. The actual wording he makes that property is the embodiment of the passive instincts leads to war. It's a passive instinct. Till yesterday, you don't mind sharing your property with your brothers and sisters. But at one point in time, you want property. You fight with your own brother, your own sister. After death of the parents, the property disputes increase. Even after death of the father, mother is influenced, or sometimes mother is forced to sell the property so that the money will be distributed among the children. And the old mother become very panic. If she gives property which she and her husband earned with their own sacrifices, if she gives that property to the children, there is no guarantee that children would take care of her for long. That's one problem. The another problem, brothers will fight among them, sisters will fight among them, brothers and sisters will fight among them. So Bertrand Russell says that effect of the property is war. Effect of the property is war, nothing else. Look, you can create anything in the world. What you can't create is land. Can you create a land? We can't. That's why Elon Musk wants to go to Mars. Billions of dollars are spending to find any planet like Earth. Why the world sent? Why America and Russia sent a rocket to the moon to find whether moon is conducive, whether the moon is having conducive environment for the habitation of the humans, animals, for beings. They tried, but they could not. The atmosphere in the moon is not conducive for the human habitation. Now they're trying to find in Mars. Because you can create anything. You can create even humans. How? How you can create humans? How?
That test tube baby.
No. By marrying. Why you want to go to test tube baby? If you marry a girl, if you marry a boy, you can create a human. Why you are going to test tube baby? I have a simple question. You can create humans, but you can't create land. That's why Bertrand Russell says that land, the property is the embodiment of the possessive instinct. It's not a passive. Property is the embodiment of the possessive instincts leads to war. Here, possessive instinct means I want it. Everybody wants property. If we have 10 acres of land, you want to make it at 100 acres of land. Go to the villages. Village people want to say, hey, that property was my grandfather property. But my neighbor fooled my grandfather and took away all my property. People say that or not? People do say or not? Go to the villages, find out farmlands. Farmlands, even today, many Dalits claim that in the village, most of the farmlands belong to Dalits. But non-Dalits, by forcing Dalits, by misguiding the Dalits, They have snatched away all the lands from the Dalits. Particularly when the taxation system introduced, Dalits were not having tax to pay. Then all the lands were taken by the intermediary castes and so-called higher castes. They have taken away all the Dalit lands. Why it is so? Bertrand Russell says it's a possessive instinct. Possessive means having, possessing something. Generally, wife and husband says, tells to husband, I am possessive of you. I don't want anyone to look at you. Wife say, or husband says, I am very possessive of you. Don't become glamorous. Otherwise, people look at you on the road. What do you mean possessive? Possessive means treating something else as their own property. Husband treats wife as his own property. Then only the possessiveness increases. Possessive instinct that Bertrand Russell thoughts. So this possessive instinct makes property, the effect of the property, the war. So this is a concept we know very well, that if you ask your parents, or if you know details about your own house boundaries, you are always suspect your neighbor that is he taking away my property or not? Is he taking away my property or what? The doubt you always get whenever he builds his own boundary wall. When you make a boundary walls, there is a property disputes arise between the two who are the neighbors. So everything is a property relations. So at one side money, the other side property. Now Ambedkar says that it all depends on who is the person. Money, as far as love of the money, who is the person, have or have nots? Have nots wants money, but however, when he doesn't get that money, he says that money is not everything. But very interestingly, have, like Elon Musk, he is also, yesterday he stated that money doesn't bring everything. He never said that money, he doesn't want money. He says that money doesn't bring everything. Money doesn't bring happiness. Yes, true. Money gives comforts. Money brings comforts. You can buy everything with money. Your life becomes so comfortable. But not necessarily you will get happiness. Happiness is not something to explain. It has to be experienced. That is the reason even beggar also produces children. He also marry. He also produces children. He also try to have a family. He never think that I'm already beggar. I don't have money. Why I should marry other woman? And why I should make my children beggars? He never think. Why poor people go for marriage? Even poor people also, they do produce the children. A poverty-stricken person never thinks that if already I'm a poor, if I marry, my children also become a poor. So I should not marry. I should not produce the children. He never think of it. Instead, rich people are thinking. You look at the rich people, wealthy people homes, you'll find only one child. Many children, you will find only poor people homes. It's illogical, but practical. Why? Why? Because money doesn't give happiness. A poor person might find happiness by producing the children, by having the children. A rich person who is having crores of rupees don't marry at all. He finds happiness living independently. Nowadays, concept of independent life is coming. Women and men not marrying nowadays, having lakhs of rupees earnings every month, but they don't marry, they don't produce any child. Whereas poor people, they go for 2, 3. First, girl is there in Indian society. Typically, everybody wants only boys. If they get a girl, the first child is a girl. Then they try for second attempt for the boy. Second child also girl. Then they go for the third attempt. If the boy is born, third child is a boy, then they think that we can have one more boy. So one more attempt. So 2 girls, 2 boys. Oh, boys and girls are same, 2. Why can't we have 3 boys? So we can go for another attempt. Then 5th attempt will be again girl. Oh, girls are majority, 2s are boys. Let's go for the 6th attempt. So produce another boy. Like that, the poor people, they go for the boys and girls calculation and they produce more and more. I'm just giving one simple reason. There are many reasons. In olden days, why the poor people go for the many? Why the people go for the many child? Because of the making their own community grow in the numbers, so that they might be having the social security. But in modern times, it's economic reasons people don't go for the many children. Since educated people know the economic implications about having many children, they go for only one child now. Look at many. I'll give you one example. Andhra Pradesh former Chief Minister Jagannath Reddy, his forefathers, his grandfather and his father and himself having vast acres of tracts of land and very rich people. Jagannath Reddy father Rashekar Reddy had only 2 kids, girl and boy. Now Jagannath Reddy having, the boy is Jagannath Reddy. He is again Chief Minister. He is having only 1 daughter. His father had 2, he is having 1. And they are very rich people. And his father was a Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh, himself was a Chief Minister of Andhra Pradesh. See, look, and they are very rich people and Chief Minister. His family, only 1 kid. What about the people in Andhra Pradesh? Poor people having so many children. Anyhow, now how the people, how the haves look, how the rich people look at the money, economy, how the poor people look at the economy, this is what Bertrand Russell was explaining. And Ambedkar is arguing differently. Bertrand Russell states that love of money for everyone, and that leads to war. Ambedkar states that no, love of money is different. It all depends on the haves and have-nots. Same is the case with the property. Of course, Ambedkar accepts Bertrand Russell argument. Yes, property relations leads to war. All relations become end with the money and property. Am I right or not? There is a saying in Telugu, if you give money to someone, you will lose your money as well as your friendship. Suppose your friend is asking give me 1 lakh rupee. You have given 1 lakh rupee to him. And if he doesn't give you back, you know what will happen? You have lost your money and you have lost friendship with him also. So it's better you don't give money I am sure 99% there is a possibility that your friend will be continuing friendship with you if you don't give money. No, I don't say that one should not help others. But what I'm trying to say that at the time of taking money, people are very sober, passive, explains their troubles. But when you ask the money, they'll say that tomorrow by evening I'll give you money. By next month I receive salary, the same day I'll give you money. I'll give you money back. I'll give you your money back. No, I have to break my FD from the bank. Just 3 days only. Today is a Friday. Unfortunately, today is a holiday. On Saturday is a holiday, Sunday, 3 days bank holiday. Monday, I'll go to the bank by 10 o'clock. I break my FD. By 10:30, I'll give you back your money. Please give me now 1 lakh rupees. But at the time of giving back money, it's never going to happen. Mostly, it is like that. In that case, what happened? You lose your money as well as you lose your friendship. That's why you find good friends. I believe that good friends are far better than blood relatives. Good friends are, best friends are far better than the blood relatives. So better to have your best friends than the blood relatives. People say blood is thicker than the water. Yes, of course, blood is thicker than the water, no doubt. But blood will be spilled out when it comes to sharing the interests, property. Who kills whom? Own blood relatives kill each other for property. There are many stories. Many stories are there. Property relations divided many people. So Bertrand Russell is right. Property leads to war. The great philosopher, Bertrand Russell, feels that the great philosopher of the 20th century, Bertrand Russell feels that property is, because property effect has a possessive instinct, it leads to war. So my dear friends, be careful when you are dealing with a relationship on the basis of money. As long as you give money, you are good, you will be having good relation with others. Once you stop giving money, then you will become bad. Once you ask your money back, you will become bad. War doesn't mean only between the two countries. War could be between the two individuals also. Conflict could be between the two individuals also. War in the sense, battle, conflict. War is between two countries. Battles are between two communities. Conflict could be between the two individuals. It's because of the love of money and property, the effect of the property. So, my dear friends, that's what here. So many things are there. Finally, Ambedkar feels that Bertrand Russell, the core idea of the Bertrand Russell in his book is that Bertrand Russell emphasized the psychic basis of social life, psychological basis of the social life. How we can stop how could we stop the war? I already dealt this topic, impulse, in my first lecture, I think. Yeah, first lecture. You better view that video in the YouTube, the first part of this lecture, where I dealt the concept of impulse floated by the Bertrand Russell, how it causes the war, how impulse could be controlled to stop the war. So Ambedkar says that the crux of the Bertrand Russell book, Principles of Social Reconstruction of Society, is that psychological aspect of the social life, the psychic basis of social life. Social reconstruction depends upon the right understanding of the relation of individual to society. Mr. Russell's conception of the relation as being of impulse to institution is beyond doubt the truest. This is what Ambedkar quotes. He accepts it's a true. It is the impulse nature of the human that decides the kind of relationship between the individual and society. So impulse is the psychology. And Bertrand Russell says that impulse, Bertrand Russell decides in two kinds of impulse. One is creative impulse, other one is possessive impulse. Creative impulse means what is not existing that you want to create. That's a creative impulse. Possessive impulse means you want to possess, you want to acquire at any cost what is existing. Property is existing. So possessive instinct property has. So your impulse become possessive when it's related to property, and that leads to war. And many countries fight with each other because of the property. If Russia is invading Ukraine, what it wants to gain? Basically, it wants to occupy certain parts of the Ukraine. That's the land, that's the property. Understand? You may say that. Forget about the Russia and Ukraine. Any war ultimately to occupy the property, the land. You may say that, sir, what they could do with the property? They could do many things. Under the property, under the land, minerals are there, oil is there. Many things are there, minerals, oil, many things. On the property, rivers are there, seashore is there. Above the property, air is there, sky is there, space. Ultimately, space. What you want to occupy? It's a space. Suppose you are traveling the train, you have a reserved ticket and sitting happily enjoying your berth in the reserved compartment. One person comes without reservation. I mean, he is having waiting list ticket. That's why TC allowed him to stay in the, suppose if TC allows. Waiting list ticket people should not enter at all in the reserved compartments. Suppose waiting list person is also traveling in the same coach. If he is standing next to your berth, he might ask you that, sir, please give me some space to sit on your berth. Many times you might have experienced. I too also experienced. Because since I belong to South India but studied in North India, so throughout my education, I was traveling from north to south, to full India for many years. From JNU to Chennai, from Delhi to Chennai, I used to travel. So many years I traveled. Even now also I am traveling. My wife belonged to Lucknow. I belong to Hyderabad. So we travel. Mostly our whole life is traveling only. So I also experienced many times. So someone standing next to you without a berth might request you, sir, could you provide me space? Space. Berth is your place. In your place, he wants space. My dear friends, whole universe, the story is a space and time. The universe created, universe produced by nature. God has created the universe with the two purposes, time and space. to provide the time and space. Whether it's the universe, creation of the universe, whether it is the story of the sharing your reserved berth with unreserved person in the train, story is the same. Space. Once he sits on your berth, he has taken away your space and your time. Subtly is going to talk to you. The third one, energy. Who knows? Space, time, energy. These are the three things. That's the purpose of the life. To find your own space. To utilize properly your time. To put constructively your energy. So once you allow unreserved person to sit on your berth, is it so easy to ask him to get up? Tell me frankly, once you allow unreserved person to sit on your berth in the train, is it so easy to ask him to get up? Once he sit on your seat, it's not so easy to ask him to get up. So what does it mean? In the train itself, you can't make him to get up from your berth. How can you make others to get away from your property once you share your property with others? There comes the conflict. There comes the war. Once any country occupied another country, it's not so easy to make that country to get away from that property, from the land of yours. That's what Bertrand Russell says, that the very idea of the property, it leads to war. Anyhow, so these are the two important things which, Ambedkar absolutely agree with whatever, what the ideas floated by the Bertrand Russell in his book. However, Ambedkar tried to explain those ideas, impulsive nature of the humans, and this property, love of money, all these things, from his own point of view. From Ambedkar made it from his own point of view. So this is what our lecture, 3 parts. Now, that's what. Thank you very much. Jai Bhim, Jai Bharat.
Thank you, sir, for your wonderful lecture. Now we completed our 3 parts of today's lecture with today's lecture. So I think there might be a questions from the audience, from the participants. So I request those who want to ask a question related to the topic which Professor Karunyakara sir just completed, the reconstruction, Mr. Russell and reconstruction of society. So I request those who want to ask a question, please go ahead. Please ask a question. Yeah, Shashikant, please.
Sir, Jai Bhim, sir.
Yeah,
Sir, where Baba Saheb Ambedkar differs from Bertrand Russell? Sir, what exactly where he differs from his idea? Most of the time, it feels like he admires.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I understood. Ambedkar accepts the concept given by the Bertrand Russell in his book. But application of those concepts, where Ambedkar gives his own explanation. Because the last sentence, if you look at him, the last sentence of the review, if you look at him, Ambedkar states, look, he says, Mr. Russell's conception of the relation as being of impulse to institution is beyond doubt the truest. The whole book, Bertrand Russell's main argument is this impulse, which I have given, which also I have spent more time in the first lecture. Almost 1.5 hours I talked about the impulse. That is the crux of the idea made by the Bertrand Russell in his book. So which Ambedkar accepts. That's what he said. It's a truest. The last line, that's what he mentioned in his book review. But when it comes to application of the impulse, Ambedkar differs from him. Bertrand Russell says that impulse is creative as well as possessive. Ambedkar says that it's not like that. It's all depends on. Of course, there is a pulse, impulsive or possessive. Impulse is a creative as well as possessive. Ambedkar agrees that. But however, he says that it's more than that. It's not as simple as to define the impulsive nature as a possessive or creative. Where he talks about the property relations, love of money, Bertrand Russell talk. They say there, Ambedkar says that it all depends on have-nots. Bertrand Russell, that's a love of money, it leads to war. Ambedkar says that no, love of money depends on the who is looking at the money, whether it's a wealthy person or a poor person. There, Ambedkar explains that the poor people, there is a in the ancient India, even people are working so hard day and night, they are unable to produce much because there were no modern instruments, modern production instruments. You see, you might have seen in the olden days, in your childhood, in the paddy fields or wheat fields, people used to plow by using the only wooden plow. Wooden plow, you can't go deep into the soil. So you don't get the proper growth of the seeds into the production will be very less. The wheat production will be very less. The paddy production, rice production would be less. So that then what would happen? You are having less eatable things, less rice, less wheat. Because of that, poverty is more and more. Poor people are more and more. People die with hunger. Then what happened? We had mechanization of tractors like that. Tractors. When the tractors came, you are digging so deeply the soil. When the fertilizers came, you are using the fertilizers made by machine. So those fertilizers giving the more productions. That's why you have much rice, much wheat. So people are eating more and poverty has reduced. Today, the question about having a quality things, only if you have a money, you can buy a quality things. But in olden days, even if you have a money, you don't have quality things. Today, you can buy anything. You don't need to prepare at your home. Food doesn't require to be prepared at your home. You can eat. If you have a money, you can eat anywhere, anything. Earlier days, if you want to go from one place to another place, you have to cook the things and carry. Today, there are many places where you can get anything. For food purpose, I'm talking. You understand? So the poverty, a poor person, look at the money, depends on his needs. The story is floated in the ancient India that since we can't create more production, the story is created, the philosophers created that the morality, the moral person is poor person. Rich person is bad person. Poor person is good person. That is the morality, the moral standard of the ancient India, because we could not produce more and more things that could be consumed. Out of putting all the best efforts of the humans, they are unable to produce more production. They are unable to produce more things to which is useful for the consumption, like a food. The basic needs also we are unable to fulfill. We don't have the houses because there was no production of the cement, no production of the bricks. We didn't have proper clothes because there was no production of the mechanized cloth production. weaving. There was no mechanized weaving. So there were rich people, but there was no technology. It's not that in olden days rich people were there. Rich people were there. Many people having thousands of acres of land, gold, silver, many things. But still they were not having proper clothes. Why Raja Maharaja in movies? You look at the mythological movies. Very Raja Maharaja having no clothes. Only you put the gold ornaments. Why? Because there were no clothes, no cloth production. Understanding? So that is why in the olden days, the stories were constructed by all the religions. The stories were constructed that poverty is morality. Only poor person is a good. Rich person means he's a bad because he becomes a rich by looting the others. That was there. That was there. Many rich people looted poor people. All the Dalits property were taken by the many people, zamindars in the villages. That's the truth. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that if you become a rich, you are a good, bad. No. Then what is the morality constructed in the olden days? Becoming rich means bad. You should be happy with the poverty. There, Ambedkar, that is what Ambedkar explained. No, he countered the Bertrand Russell. He says that no, love of money, property, these are all impulsive nature. It's not only possessive. It all depends on who is the person, whether it's a rich person or poor person. It all depends. So Ambedkar wanted to change that philosophy of morality. Because Ambedkar knows all Dalits were poor people. If he says that poverty is a fine, then what is the meaning of the whole social justice? So Ambedkar is a great thinker. Even if he's talking about Bertrand Russell, World War, European society, world, again his mind works for the Dalit interests. Though he didn't take the Dalit, what is that, name. Though he didn't talk about the Dalit interest, though he didn't talk about at all India, but he is indirectly working or subconsciously working to build a narrative that Dalits should be empowered. Even through the book is written about the World War society. That's the greatness of Ambedkar. Yeah, next question.
Yeah, anyone else want to ask a question? So no one is
Dr. Kiran is not there.
No, Dr. Kiran is here, sir.
Where
I am here, sir. I have no question.
Madam, you are assistant professor. You should have a question.
No, sir.
No.
Question.
No. The people think that if they don't question, it means that I have convinced everyone. It should not be. Question. Question is the whole world, whole history builds on a question. Please ask me any question related to subject. Akash, what about your brain? Is it working? Then ask me question.
I want to ask a question.
Yeah.
So the thing is, when I was listening your lecture, and the topic is related to the reconstruction of the society, and it was a book review written by Dr. Ambedkar. So majorly, I understood that book review is an kind of a argument given by Dr. Ambedkar to the Mr. Russells. The review is. But when I was thinking, and your last, when you are replying to some Shashikant, you also said that Dr. Ambedkar was thinking about the Dalit community. So my question is related to that. In a contemporary time, how we have to work for the reconstruction of the society in a Dalit perspective. That I know this will be a different topic, but I just want some words from you, like a gist, so at least we can have some idea around that. That is my question.
Akash, you should not be guilty of asking a questions on the Dalit interest. The whole idea of Dalit Knowledge Institute is to discuss about the Dalit knowledge, Dalit interest only. So it is a great platform to ask such a no questions. So you should not be guilty of it. And coming back to that, how Ambedkar explained. That is my own interpretation. Ambedkar never used the word, Dalit, or he's trying to build a Dalit narrative based on the Bertrand Russell book, Principles of Reconstruction. So that's my interpretation. Ambedkar interpreted Bertrand Russell's ideas. I am interpreting Ambedkar's ideas based on Bertrand Russell's ideas in the context of the Dalit knowledge. So anyhow, coming back to your question that how it is related to Dalit interest. That's what the whole my lecture is. All the three parts of my lecture, my subconscious mind also working from that perspective only. When I talked about the impulsive nature, when I talked about the how long it's a long life is important or quality life is important, which Ambedkar dealt, that I explained in my second part of this lecture. So if you apply Bertrand Russell's concept of impulsive nature, which has possessive instinct, how Dalits act in different contexts. Because the book is, as rightly Ambedkar said, Bertrand Russell understanding the First World War and trying to reconstruct the European society for the purpose of establishing peace. There, Ambedkar understanding that context from the context of the Dalit perspective, though Ambedkar didn't specifically talk about Dalit perspective, from my own interpretation, what I understand Ambedkar's interpretation of Ambedkar's book review of Bertrand Russell is that to construct the Dalit perspective of the impulsive nature of the humans. When you look at the relationship between individual and society, the book is about that. Psychological interpretation, the psychic social interpretation of right understanding of relationship, social relationship between individual and society. That is all about the Bertrand Russell book, the Principles of Reconstruction of Society. Ambedkar accepts Bertrand Russell's concepts. But when we apply those concepts in the Dalit perspective, yes, look at the Dalits. Dalits as a community, when it deals with the other people, non-Dalit community, how the Dalits, their impulsive nature works. Suppose other community person gives little respect, how our impulsive nature works. We keep that person on our head. Suppose non-Dalit comes to a Dalit person and says that Jai Bhim, that's enough. That's enough. We'll become a fool. We'll keep that non-Dalit on our head and we'll roam around the whole city. That is what impulsive nature. That's what Bertrand Russell was talking about, Ambedkar was talking about. Impulsive nature, impulsive action is an instinct action that is mostly played by the emotions. So suddenly Dalit become an emotional fool because he is so much, what do you say, nowadays the one term is used, andhabhakt. He will become so much andhabhakt of his own idols, his own models. There are many andhabhakts. Ambedkar andhabhakts, Mayawati andhabhakts, Kanshiram andhabhakts. So andhabhakts are there. I don't know how to translate this Andhabhakt in English. Could anybody help me out? What phrase could be rightly, framed for Andhabhakt? Blind followers. Blind followers. Andhabhakt means, I think, blind followers. Yes. So blind followers. Ambedkar deadly opposed the blind followers. But there are many Ambedkarites who are blind followers. Why I oppose the blind following? Blind following doesn't mean that we have to disrespect our own people. No. But blind following makes us what? Fools. That's why any person can come and play with our emotion. What is our weakness? Our weakness is Baba Sahib Ambedkar. Our strength is Baba Sahib Ambedkar. If you use your strength, Ambedkar as your strength, you will grow. You will become more strength. You will get more strength. If you use Ambedkar as your strength, you will get more strength. If you use Ambedkar as your weakness, you will become a weakest person. And the non-Dalits, generally, those who want to misuse you, misguide you, generally what they do, the non-Dalits, they use your weakness. They use Ambedkar as your weakness. They simply come and say that, Jai Bhim, happy? We are happy. And we put all our 100% trust on that person just because he said Jai Bhim. We put all our 100% trust without even verifying the credentials of that person. That's the biggest danger. Why? Because that's what I said. Blind followers, Andhabhakts, are biggest danger to any society. Be it Andhabhakts of Ambedkar, Andhabhakts of Mayawati, Andhabhakts of Kanshiram, Andhabhakts of Birsa Munda, Andhabhakts of BP Mandal, Andhabhakts of anybody. So, my dear friends, when you are putting one finger, stating that, hey, you are Andhabhakts, blind follower of somebody, you look at three fingers are looking at you. When you point out one finger, one Andhabhakt, one blind follower in other people, non-Dalits, three Andhabhakts, three blind followers in our own society. So you respect your own people. I respect Ambedkar. I admire Ambedkar. I'll get inspiration from Baba Sahib Ambedkar. I'll respect Mayawati, Banji Mayawati. I admire her. I'll get inspiration. Same is the case with Manivar Kanshiram. I respect Manivar Kanshiram. I get inspiration from him, from his words, from his actions. I admire him. But I am not a blind follower of anyone. If you are a blind follower, you can't produce a new knowledge. First thing, you can't understand your own thinker. Suppose had Ambedkar been a blind follower of Pule, he would have never produced a thesis which is different from Pule. Pule was never a follower of Gautam Buddha. How come Ambedkar is a follower of Pule? Tell me. Ambedkar says, Baba Sahib Ambedkar says that Pule is my guru. But Pule was never a follower of Gautam Buddha. Then how come Ambedkar became a follower of Buddha? Because Ambedkar was not a blind follower of Pule. Ambedkar was not an Andhabhakt of Pule, Mahatma Pule. That is the reason Ambedkar thought new ideas. He gave new knowledge. But today what happening? There are many Andhabhakts of Ambedkar. There are many Andhabhakts of Mayawati. There are many Andhabhakts of Kanshiram. I am not going to talk about others. I am not going to talk about other people. I am going to talk about, see, I believe in self-criticism, and in my PDP lectures also, I used to always criticize our own people only. Why? Because self-criticism strengthens us. It's not that I am, pointing out our own people, no. But what's the wrong? What is the wrong in criticizing ourselves? If we don't critique our own mistakes, other people misuse us. So be careful. Ambedkar should become our strength, not our weakness. Otherwise, other people, non-Dalits, they will they will use Ambedkar as your weakness and destroy you. If you want me, I will become more vocal. What is that? Kanaya, somebody name. What is his name? Mr. Kanaya, some JNU president. Now he is in Congress party. That he is a good guy, no problem. He is a good orator. He is a liberal guy also, secular guy. But one day suddenly he gave Jai Bhim slogans. So all Dalits, they become frenzied and they brought him to Nagpur to deliver a lecture. Nagpur or somewhere in Maharashtra. He gave a lecture and people become so much fringed up Kanaya followers just because he said Jai Bhim. And he went away. Now nobody knows what is his position on Dalit issues. Nobody knows. Giving a theoretical lecture is different. Taking a position on practical issues is different. There is one more guy, Ravish Kumar, is another journalist. Look, Jai Bhim enough for the non-Dalit people to grow their business, to grow their channels, to grow their personality. But when it comes to practical issues, nobody bothers. UGC issue, whether UGC should have equity, committees in the university or not. Ravish never made single, what is that? His comment in favor of it. Kanaya never made. But these two people, why I'm referring, I have respect to these people. They are very secular, progressive. Everything is there. But when it comes to practical Dalit issues, we must understand that Dalit society virtually given a break to these two people to become so much famous. Why it's happening? There are many YouTube channels run by the non-Dalits, non-Ambedkarites. Just by taking Dalit name and Ambedkar name, they have become rich people and popular. But when it comes to core Dalit issue, they don't take any stand. So why Dalits are madly running after the people without verifying the credentials? Why? It's because Ambedkar has become weakness to many Ambedkarites. Instead of using Ambedkar as our strength, we are using Ambedkar as our weakness. No, it should not be. It's very wrong. Then who will tell this? Intellectuals only tell. If intellectuals keep mum, because I want to be very good in Twitter and Facebook, Instagram, everybody people. No, it's not like that. What Ambedkar said, fighting with others is easy. Fighting with our own people is very difficult. You must have a brave and courage to fight with your own society. Fighting against the British is very easy. Fighting with his own community is very difficult, which Ambedkar did. So, my dear friends, the impulsive I'm talking, I have given practical examples. How the impulsive works in the Dalit context. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Is there anyone else who want to ask a question? I'm not seeing anyone. So I think let's move for a vote of thanks part. So, sir, can we go?
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. So now I request Shashikant Sambodhi to please deliver today a vote of thanks for today's lecture.
Thank you. On behalf of KIDK, Karunyakara Institute of Dalit Knowledge, I warmly thank Professor Dr. L. Karunyakara sir, a respected Dalit historian and Ambedkarite thinker, for chairing today's session, as well as his wonderful and thought-provoking lecture as a key speaker on the topic Ambedkar Text 3, Mr. Russell and the Reconstruction of Society, Part 3. This was a final lecture in that context. Professor is a former Vice Chancellor of MGHV University, a Central University, Wardha, Maharashtra, and an expert of Dalit affairs as well as Dr. Ambedkar writings. Our sincere thanks to all the participants and attendees of the 35th online lecture in the KIDK lecture series. Special thanks to our coordinators, Dr. Sukeshni, Dr. Darshana Mesram, Dr. Smita Bhagat, Mr. Akash Khobragade, Mr. Shreyat and Mr. Vijay Kumbre for their continuous efforts and support in making this session successful. This lecture series started on Ambedkar Jayanti 2025, continues to spread knowledge and new ideas in the field of Dalit studies. Thank you once again to everyone for your valuable participation. And before we close, please don't forget to subscribe to the Dalit Knowledge YouTube channel, where this recorded session will be uploaded soon. Jai Bhim. The session is over.